Wouldn't it be nice if Adam Sandler didn't count the dates up all so wrong? And wouldn't it be nice to talk together in a format that goes way too long? You know it's time to rewind, baby, for 19 dates of this movie with Drew Barry. Yeah, wouldn't it be nice? Good morning, listeners. It's another beautiful day here on It's Time to Rewind. I'm your host, Bubbawheat, and joining me today is my guest, Jeanette Ward. How are you doing today?
I'm good. Hi, how are you?
It's good to have you on. I have your first time here on this show. It's
Yeah.
nice to finally have you on.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome. And this season, we're discussing what was the movie again?
51st Dates.
Oh, yes. Well, actually, it's 19 first dates, and we are going through them one date at a time. And this date is what I'm calling date zero, as they don't actually interact. And the scene starts at 8 minutes and 18 seconds with Henry Roth walking into the Hukilau Cafe and ends at 11 minutes and 32 seconds with Henry turning down an offer from Alexa. So before we get into this scene proper, like what's your history with this movie? Where did you first discover and what's where does it fall within the Adam Sandler oeuvre?
The Sandler verse.
Yes.
I feel like I must have first seen it on TV. I'm sure I didn't see it in the theater. It's such an odd balance with Adam Sandler for me. Like sometimes he's way too much, and sometimes it's just not enough is not the right word, but trying too hard might be the right. Like Hidden Gems, no thank you. But like all the way to Waterboy, no thank you. So you can kind of find in the middle this gray area of genuinely heartwarming rom-coms that he's made a bunch of, and I feel like this is one of them. This is one of his movies I like. It's one of those things where like I feel like I've always been kind of a fan of Adam Sandler without necessarily being a fan of all of his movies.
Mhm.
I like that he keeps making he knows what his fans want, he knows how to deliver, but he also doesn't mind stretching in some other things. He also continues to put all his friends in all his stuff, and I don't have a problem with that. I think that's a good idea. Circling around to this one, like I said, very charming, very sweet, has at its core some genuine moments that are very, very lighthearted and fun. And this might be a good movie for someone who's like, I don't like Adam Sandler movies. Well, okay, what about this one?
Mhm.
It's kind of, but that being said, and ironically, this scene does have a couple of moments where I'm like, oh no, that's too much for me. The entire Alexa character is not necessary. There's and there's no Rob Schneider in this clip, thankfully, but also that character, like, why so racist? Not necessary. Could have just been playing a white dude. Could have been doing the Paul Rudd in Forgetting Sarah Marshall version.
Oh, yes.
White surfer dude on the beach would have been fine, right? Could have been. The advantage here is all the kids he has, which are hilarious, admittedly, but also could have combined that character and the Alexa character into one character, save you a bunch of time. But there's always, I think that's a trademark of his style, is let's have the one character who's just too much, and in this case, two characters that are just too far. A little bit gross, not necessary. I do feel like the Alexa character, the payoff though, is the Missy Pyle scene where okay, that's pretty
Mhm.
funny. So I don't know. I think that's a me preference, not a movie preference. But yes, so long story short, too late. I find this movie charming for the most part. One of the Adam Sandler movies I prefer, but again, not I don't love it, but I like
Yeah,
it.
it definitely goes into a bit of the gross out humor and the kind of weird bits of humor that can be a little bit too much for some people.
No one
But
needs walrus vomit. No one needs it.
that's and I'll have a bit more of my thoughts about the Alexa character when we get to the end of this scene. But this scene starts with him entering the Hukilau Cafe And we get our introduction to Sue, played by Amy Hill, who
Mhm.
is she is definitely one of those character actors. She's been in a ton of movies. I think over 200 IMDb credits at this point.
Amazing.
Yeah, and she is great as Sue. I love
Yes.
her. And we also get Nick, the or Tattoo Face as he gets called a lot. And he was actually a newcomer. This was his first movie. He was a local that's they found in auditions, and his name, I believe it's pronounced Pomakai Brown.
Hmm.
And yeah, I love him too. Like he's just so fun.
Well, it's a broad comedy only works if you have some characters who are grounding it, who are playing it real. And I think Sue for sure is the character that like, look, let me center everything, and then you can all be real big around me. And I kind of like that. I
Mhm.
also like the standard cast of characters in the cafe who we start to meet in this scene that you'll get to talk about more as the movie goes on.
Yeah, they're
The old guy especially.
yes. Since you brought him up, we can jump ahead just a little bit. Yeah, his name is Joe, and I I listened to the commentary last week, and I know they talk quite a bit about him, and the commentary is Drew Barrymore and the director Peter Siegel, and
Hmm.
it's a fantastic commentary. It's a great listen. The two really have fun. Drew Barrymore is just so sweet and funny, and you can tell that she loved making this movie, and she had so much fun, and she loves the director, and it's just great to listen. They really have a lot of fun, and they have a lot of background elements. And he talks about how I want to say that they had worked with Joe before, but looking on IMDb, this is his only credit. So I'm not
Oh,
sure
interesting.
if it wasn't credited, or if he was just like kind of hanging around the set doing something not exactly movie related. But he also said that he actually improvised most of his lines.
Hilarious.
And yeah, he is just so fantastic. Just this line of him like, are you staring at me or her? Because you're kind of
You're
starting to
freaking me
freak
out.
me out.
Fantastic.
Mhm. And he just has a great face and just a
Yes.
great timing. I love every line, every moment that he has in this movie. Um, but jumping back a little bit, we get this well, first let's start with his breakfast. We find out that he just wants a coffee because he's waiting for the Coast Guard to come tow his broken boat that we saw in the last scene.
Hmm.
And he just had a Reese's peanut butter cup and a Gatorade. And Sue is like, no, we're gonna get you some spam and eggs. And spam is definitely I believe it's a lot more popular in Hawaii than it is
Very
in the
popular,
rest of the
yes.
country. So, so I feel like that's accurate
Fried spam and eggs.
and great. It's from my point of view as someone who kind of works adjacent into the um, restaurant business. That's very very good upselling.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, 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 I know you wanted coffee, but let me go ahead and bring you an entire breakfast.
And then we get this introduction with this reflection of the sun off of the butter knife. And I'm trying to remember, I know it's used at least one other time, but I can't remember if it's used a third time. And I if it is only used twice, I kind of wish it was used a
Hey,
little bit
isn't that the rule
more.
of three? Yeah.
Yeah, because I have the other time that I remember for sure it pops up is after the two of them broke up,
Mm,
and she is visiting the aquarium. He notices her with that reflection again, but she doesn't remember him at that point.
mm. I do like that he's literally blinded by her. Like he first notices her because she is blinding him with, and you can, read layers into that however you want or attribute different meanings to it, but it's and again, Drew Barrymore, they've clearly they worked together several times. They get along well, but he, she's so effervescent. She is like sunshine bottled into a person, and it just fits this role so perfectly. Like she's been great in other stuff. I don't know that she fits this flawlessly, and so it's
Mhm.
just so she's just so nice in this.
Yeah, and we don't see it in this, but I feel like she can match Adam Sandler's sense of humor.
100%. 100%. It can be tough to cast a lead opposite him that can come to his level. I think she does it. I think Jennifer Aniston does it. I I have a soft spot for You Don't Mess with the Zohan. Why? I don't know. I find that one funny. But Emmanuelle Chikri, she kind of does it in that one too. Like she's pretty good. So but Drew Barrymore is definitely, I think, of those that come to mind immediately in air quotes Adam Sandler movies. I think Drew Barrymore is one of the best. Matching him and meeting him
Yeah.
and not being because he can suck all the air out of a scene. That's kind of his gift as a performer. And she will maintain her own air.
Yeah, she definitely matches him in this movie, the entire start to finish. And I also like this moment, and it's very brief and it's easy to skip past, but that Lucy comments on Sue's haircut.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever you know the whole situation, I think it's easy to imagine that Sue has probably had this haircut for quite a while, but
yes,
for Lucy, this is the first time seeing that haircut.
And just genuinely sweet. I'm like, oh, a nice haircut.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then we see the first of many waffle creations. She's making the waffle teepee this time with the coffee stir sticks and the little bit of coffee in the middle to make the steam.
I do like that the waffle creations are different each time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, in the commentary, the I think art director was the one that was tasked with making all the different waffle creations, and about halfway through the movie he was getting frustrated at having to come up with something new for every scene.
But it plays into once you start to understand her condition is that, yeah, it's not that she's repeating the same day. It's just she can't make new memories. The people around her are kind of forcing her into living the same day over and over again, but that's not her doing it. So I like the fact that the waffles are different every time because she's, inspired to put together different waffles each time.
Yeah, and I do like the fact, it's almost like the chaos theory. This isn't Groundhog Day for her. Like
Right.
she's not in her Groundhog Day where she's repeating the exact same day every single day. There,
Hmm.
her mood, her body chemistry, whatever affects how she greets the day. And even though
Hmm.
the day might be 90% the same, she can, her mood and her creativity, whatever gives her a very different experience each day. And I do like that this movie covers that pretty well.
Yes. Yes. It allows it because this could be kind of a time loop movie, but it allows those little details allow it to kind of break out of that formula and it becomes something new
Mhm.
and different, which is very nice because you kind of see this trope used, but this is a twist on it that is keeps it fun and refreshing, but also, again, in a rom-com, I always say that's the one genre you don't want groundbreaking, or at least if it's groundbreaking, maybe just an aspect or two. You
Mhm.
Rom-coms are where you're looking for predictable. Give me a couple, give me a meet cute, have them fall in love, have something go wrong, have them break up, and then have a big dramatic gesture at the end where they get back together. That's the formula. Stick to it. It's tried and true. Any other genre, you can be like, oh, we're doing something new and different. In a rom-com, use the formula and execute it very, very well. You got a hit.
Yeah. And the last thing that I want to mention while we're here in the Hukilau Cafe is I did notice that on the coffee mug, it has the little ad, the Drink Lion coffee. And that is a genuine Hawaiian-based coffee brand.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah.
And they did shoot this in Hawaii, yes.
Of not all of it. Actually, the Hukilau Cafe itself was a set in California, and the outside window that shows the sea is actually a big translite. And they actually used computer graphics in order to add boats and birds to make the translite come alive, so it looks more realistic.
Well, that's very disappointing to hear.
But they did shoot most of the exterior shots in Hawaii.
Okay.
And then we get the second half of the scene is back to this, fake SeaWorld slash aquarium that Henry works with Alexa. And we get this scene with him and Alexa doing the ultrasound on this monk seal. And you can tell it's a monk seal because whenever they show the laptop with the ultrasound, it's labeled monk seal in the corner. And I imagine it probably is supposed to be a Hawaiian monk seal. That is a specific breed of monk seal. So there's only about 1,500 of them left in the world.
Mm.
And so that's just another thing to make it make it scream Hawaii.
I like it. I also did notice that on the ultrasound, it's very like they freeze on a very cute like baby seal picture. I'm like, I'm pretty sure the ultrasound wouldn't show it that adorably, but all right, guys, I like it. It
Yeah.
fits the tone.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I definitely noticed that as well. And then we get this discussion between him and Alexa of why Henry has this commitment issues.
Mm-hmm.
And this again kind of goes in a little bit to the gross out or the
Well, I will say
immature
that
humor.
before you get gross, Alexa definitely has him pegged. Knows exactly like why he's like this. Has it, some woman abandoned him at some point, and so he's now got these commitment issues. So she has that part. Like that would have been fine. We didn't have to go farther than that.
Yeah, instead
But
we do get her going with her theory that his high school sweetheart got drunk and cheated on him with the entire wrestling team. And instead that we get the true story that it was his college girlfriend that cheated on him with her academic advisor, who was a woman and 50 years older.
I feel like the 50 is probably an exaggeration.
And I do want to kind of take a brief moment to talk about the like how this film presents like gender identity and sexuality, because I feel like it's tough. It's especially tough for me, a cis male, straight, middle-aged white guy to to give my opinion on how this movie handles it, because it does use a lot of it as just a joke, if it feels like.
Mm-hmm.
But from my point of view, it feels like it's just a joke, but it's not the butt of the humor.
Interesting, right? Because I kind of had that same. The character of Alexa is presented as and the movie is presenting her as a very masculine woman. And so the joke is like when she tells him, I'm very grumpy from a lack of physical intimacy, but here's a one-time offer for you. I'll be naked in your office for the next 5 minutes. What happens next is up to you. And then he goes, yeah, well, I don't think you realize I'm not into guys. And that's it. That's the end of the joke. And neither of them, like, she's not offended or she's not. Could you get away with that kind of joke now? I don't know. Probably not. The character is not off on it. And again, the scene with Missy Pyle later, it's not played mean. It's not bullying. Everybody seems to be in on it, but they use that same tone of joke again later. I don't know. It's interesting. It feels like it stops just short of being
bullying,
totally wrong and bullying, but it's also maybe not okay. So
yeah, because
you're kind of left with this.
I feel like if this movie was made like even just 5 years later or 10 years later, that Alexa would have been a full-on non-binary character, because I feel like this was just a little bit too early for that as presented in this movie, she is just, like you said, a masculine woman.
Which, I maybe kudos for them for being ahead of the curve on that.
Yeah, I think it's just it's an interesting topic to discuss, and I am something that I am likely to bring up with every character, especially every character that gets a scene with Alexa. But yeah, it's just very interesting, and I think it also helps that her as a character is very optimistic and she's okay with everything.
Yeah, confident in her own, and he's cool with her. Like they are friends.
Her lack of flexibility she makes up with enthusiasm.
Enthusiasm. You can't ask for more than that.
Mhm.
It's interesting, right? Because I wonder, I did think about that because the movie is clearly dated in this way, but that and the Rob Schneider character, right? What changes would have been made had this been made now, or more recently? Would have been interesting to see.
Yeah, and I think, I mentioned this last episode, but talking about the Rob Schneider character, I think it's interesting. And I feel like that Rob Schneider as an actor possibly feels like he can get away with it because he is 1/4 Asian, which was something that I did not know about
Yeah,
before getting into this.
1/4 Asian, but 0% Hawaiian. So still not okay. And I gotta
Yes.
feel like even at this time was not okay. Surely someone on set was like, the brown face guy. No, let's just have your character be a white dude on the beach. That's fine. I tell you what, have your character be a 1/4 Asian guy on the beach. That would be fine.
Yeah, it is also worth mentioning that Amy Hill, she is also not Hawaiian. She is half Japanese.
See, and that's what you need is a bunch of Hawaiian guests to speak to whether or not that's okay. Because that's not something I have any education on. So I can't speak to that. Is she
Yeah,
playing is she playing a Japanese a woman who lives in Hawaii of Japanese descent, or is she playing a Hawaiian or not? And is that okay? Or is it not okay? I don't know. I don't have the education to speak on that, but I feel like someone probably does.
I think that the movie does at least make an attempt because it does have, a not insignificant number of Hawaiian native actors.
Yes.
Because all of Ula's children, they're all Hawaiian natives, and
Yes.
these were all their
And they
first
are funny.
roles.
They
Yes,
are
they are
funny.
fantastic. I tried looking for them now, and I only really found one of them on social media, and I sent a message, but I did not get any response.
Well, I hope you do. That would be very entertaining.
And then that really gets to the end of this scene.
Hmm.
Is there anything else about, this movie as a whole that you wanted to talk about, since this is your only episode on this season?
No, I think that covers it. Like I said, I find the moving for the most part, the movie to be charming and fun, aware of itself, um, can be sarcastic and snarky without being mean, and really genuinely plays all that for the comedy and does a good job of it. And I think that everyone, with the exception of things that we've mentioned, plays their parts well. So I think it's a fun watch. I think it, for the most part, holds up. Yeah, it's a good, charming, fun rom-com with a little bit of a twist. But again, stays true to the formula, which that's what I want in a rom-com.
Exactly. Well, thank you so much for joining me on my show here. And why don't you go ahead and take a moment to let everybody else know where else they can find you online?
Yeah, you can find me on all the socials. I'm out there. You can check my movie reviews at jwardadventures.blogspot.com. I'm a little behind. I'm trying to catch up. I see more movies than I have time to write about, which what a blessing to have that problem. I'm grateful to have that issue. So that's where I keep my movie reviews. If you want to check out my belly dance troupe and where we're at and what we're doing, you can find that at tamarindbellydance.com. We got some events coming up this fall where you can catch us out and about, and you can always sign up for online classes if you'd like to learn to dance.
And of course, links for those will be in the show notes if you would like to find out more. And as always, I am Bubbawheat, and you can find me online on pretty much any social media where I'm at Bubbawheat. The social media landscape is changing right now, but I'm still on Twitter, or X, I should say, at Bubbawheat, but I'm less active there. I'm also on Instagram and Threads. I've joined Hive, but I'm also not active. At the moment, it's mostly Instagram and Threads is
You
what I'm
joined
liking.
Threads.
Yes.
I haven't joined Thread. I will tell you, I'm not really on Twitter anymore. I haven't joined Threads yet. Instagram is the way to find me. That's where I'm at the most.
And I also have a Facebook group. It's Time to Rewind, a time loop group, and you can join that to discuss episodes as they come out, as well as have any sort of discussions about time loop movies and anything time loop related is welcome there. And you can also get updates on what movies or TV seasons I will be covering in future seasons of this show. And my other project, which is running concurrently to this, is Fight Club Minute, which comes out every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on its own feed. So if you like listening to me here, I imagine you'll also like listening to me there. And and until next week, oh, what was it? I came up with it last week and then I forgot to write it down. To I hope to have breakfast with you again next week.
Oh, there
That's
you go.
what it is.
Are you staring at me or her? Because you're starting to freak me out.
Settle down and eat your pancakes, huh?